Hey guys, welcome to another painting tutorial on how to paint Cypher Lords using contrast paints and the classic method. For this tutorial you will require a pot of Skeleton Horde, Shyish Purple, Aethermatic Blue, Terradon Turquoise, Contrast Medium, Nuln Oil, Reikland Fleshshade Gloss, Akhelian Green, Magos Purple, Wyldwood, Black Templar, Leadbelcher, Retributor Armour, Daemonette Hide, Grey Seer, Fenrisian Grey, Liberator Gold and Stormhost Silver. Okay, so the first paint we're going to want to use is Akhelian Green, and we're going to be using a small layer brush for this. And what we're going to be using this on is we're going to be using all of the cloths, so things like this tabard and the kind of the pants. I think that's what they are, and they kind of wrap around the waist. So we're just going to grab a small bit on our brush, and we're just going to start applying it to all of those soft parts. Once that Akhelian Green is dry, the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to do the flesh. So for this miniature, what I'm going to use is Wyldwood for the flesh because I want it to be quite dark. But you could use any of the contrast flesh colours like Fyreslayer flesh, Guilliman flesh, or Dark Oath flesh. But I'm going to be using Wyldwood to give it that really kind of very dark flesh. So we're just going to start slapping it on right away, nice and simply like that. We want to do the legs. We kind of want to get this little crease in here, and we want to get all of the arms, and don't forget to do the neck and the back of his neck as well, of his chest. Once the Wyldwood is dry, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the first colour on the hair. So we're going to get our Shyish Purple, we're going to get a medium layer brush. And what we want to do is we just want to get a brush layer like this, and then starting kind of around about on the side, what we're going to do is we're going to paint a swirl around the hair to kind of get that wrapped around there, feeling you can see on the box art. So we're just going to kind of pick an area like this, and we're just going to draw in our strand, and then we're going to keep kind of following it around. Doesn't have to be too neat just yet, because what we'll do once we've kind of got our pattern all the way sorted, we will just go in and neaten it out and make it as wide or as thin as we want to be. So for example, now that we've got our kind of swirl all the way around like that, I want to kind of make it a little bit wider just to incorporate the rest of the strands. So we're just going to kind of go like that, and make sure we go all the way up to the helmet base, just up here. Once that Shyish Purple is dry, what we're going to do is we're going to use Black Templar, and we're going to fill in the rest of the hair. What we're also going to do is we're going to use Black Templar on these little straps things you can see on his legs, around the shoulder and across the arms. So using our medium layer brush for the hair and our small layer brush for the straps, I'm just going to grab a dollop of it, and we're just going to go straight on, and we just kind of want to just fill in the white, grey Seer, I should say, gaps. You can be a little bit, kind of overlap a little bit, as it will create quite a nice little blend effect, with the Shyish Purple being quite dark anyway, so just kind of be careful, but don't worry if you overlap a little bit. And next up, we're going to cover in all of the gold parts. What we're going to do is we're going to thin down a bit of Retributor Armour with just a little bit of water using our palette, and then we're going to use Retributor Armour and a small layer brush to just cover in all the gold parts. And there's things like the trim on his armour plates, his like the kind of the main bulk of the helmet, and things like the hilt of the weapons. And once that Retributor Armour is dry, what we're going to do is we're going to thin down some Leadbelcher with a bit of water and on our palette, and we're going to paint in all of the parts that we want to be silver. So there's things like the blade of the weapon, and these large sections of his armour and his shoulder pad. Once all those metallics are dried, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get some Reikland Fleshshade gloss and just shade all of the gold details that we've painted in so far. So just going to grab a little bit with our medium layer brush, and we're just going to start shading the miniature. You want to go over every single gold piece that you've done with this colour. Once that Reikland Fleshshade gloss is dry, what we want to do is we want to shade all the silver parts, and for this we're going to use Nuln Oil. Just going to grab a little bit onto our brush, a bit more than that, and we're just going to start shading things like the blade and his chest plate there. So we just want to go over all the silver parts that we've already painted, kind of like that. Once that's dry, what we're going to do is we're going to get a bit of skeleton horde and we're going to paint it on the soft grip of the weapon. So just take a little bit with our brush and just slap it on. So the next thing we're going to do is the last bit of shading we need to do is we're going to create a 4:1 mix, 4 parts contrast medium, 1 part Aethermatic blue. And we're going to use this on all of the white parts, and these are things like their headgear, or if there's any robes or any kind of kind of tassels or things that you want to be white. Make this mix and then just quickly just paint this over. And the reason we want this to be quite thin is that although Aethermatic blue feels like quite a thin colour, it can quickly overwhelm the white. And so it's almost too blue, but this way we still kind of retain a bit of that whiteness as well as kind of get a really nice kind of pale blue shading to it. All right, and so the next thing we want to do is we want to highlight all the silver parts with Stormhost Silver. We just kind of want to go around the edges, kind of just pick out these kind of little areas that kind of separate the little grooves in the plates, like on there and in here. And once all that silver is highlighted, we're going to highlight the gold using Liberator Gold. Once all that gold's highlighted, we're going to highlight all the cloth using some thinned down Fenrisian Grey. And next what we're going to do, in order to kind of, what you'll notice on the box art is that kind of the blades and things have got like a purplish hue in some parts. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our pot of Magos Purple, and we're just going to grab a little bit of it on our brush. That's probably a little bit too much. You kind of just want like kind of that much. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start at the tip of the blade and then just work it up and off the model. So we're going to kind of start here and then just pull it up and off, and that gives us quite a nice purplish shade to the blade just along the kind of the tip. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of thinned down Daemonette Hide, and on the hair we're just going to, on some of these kind of most prominent strands like this one here, we're just going to do a little kind of very fine highlight on them. And we're also going to do this not just on the purple parts of the hair, but on the black as well, just to kind of really make the hair pop a bit. So we're going to go across the whole hair and we're going to do that. With those highlights applied, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to do this gem here. And on any of the other Cypher Lords that you might be painting, there's plenty more gems, but for this one, there's only just the one. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a bit of thinned down grey Seer. And we're just going to, just across this gem, the center part, it's just going to recover it with grey Seer, like that. I'm going to make sure that we do the back as well. And once that grey Seer is dry, we're going to fill in the gems. What we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit of Aethermatic blue on our brush, and then we're just going to paint over where we've added that grey Seer. We want a little bit more than that. We're just going to get it nice and blue, kind of like that. Then we're going to wash our brush. We're going to take a little bit of Terradon Turquoise, and whilst it's still wet, we're just going to lob it in to one side, like that. And that will give us quite a nice little blend. We might just put a little bit more Terradon Turquoise in there, just to kind of get it nice and dark in the corner. Kind of like that. As you can see, we've got a paler to one side, darker to the other, and that gives us quite a nice little blended gem. So I'm going to do this on the back, and then we're finished. And as you can see, with that gem complete, he is now ready to join the rest of the warband, with all I need to do now is do the basing. And I think you will agree, or at least I hope you will, that they look pretty fantastic when they're all together. Yeah, so I hope this video helped, and I look forward to seeing your own Warcry bands. You can send me the pictures on Instagram at Warhipster. So yes, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.